Welcome everybody to another episode of Slams and Jams. I am Bombshell Billy.
And I am Eddie Carpenter.
And we are celebrating this week. What are we celebrating? I'll tell you what we're celebrating. Mother's Day just passed this past week. We celebrated the ladies. We celebrated the moms. So we decided we're going to celebrate the ladies right here on Slams and Jams. And you know what Slams and Jams means? Slams for the wrestling, jams for the rock and roll. We're celebrating them all on this episode right here.
Yes, it's ladies' night and the feeling.
Stop. Just so we don't get copywritten. You know?
Right.
Yeah. You got like 2 seconds. We should do our handshake. Let's do our handshake.
All right, ready?
Yeah, ready. Oh, all right. Sorry. Yeah. We don't have a handshake. We decided to do that on the fly. Anyways, let's talk about, let's do some women of rock and roll.
Okie doke, okie doke. Are we going to do a Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore!
What he said. Yeah, let's do the Mount Rushmore of women rockers. Did you do one? You got one? You got it ready?
I got one.
Throw it at me? I'm wondering how many we're going to have on the same, because we have kind of the same taste and stuff.
I kind of went outside of the box with this one and really looked at ones that influenced me.
Okay.
And some of which are maybe a little obscure to most of our viewers, but
okay,
they are being...
None of mine will be obscure, so...
One not being so obscure is my first one, Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
She was the first hard rockin' female I ever saw on a television screen. So, we're talking back in the 80s when, MTV had just come out, and just seeing a chick with a Les Paul in her hand with some pretty awesome, she had some pretty awesome riffs too.
I love her riffs.
Yeah, it tugged at my heartstrings as a kid. Might have been my first girl crush.
Aww. I can see that.
Yeah.
Might have been mine too.
Yeah.
Nah, mine was Madonna. Joan Jett, still rocking to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Still rocking to this day. Just saw her in concert 2 years ago. Maybe a year ago.
Was that Harborfest? She played Harborfest not too long ago.
I think so.
Too.
Yeah. And she opened up for the Motley Crue Def Leppard tour 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The big
she's playing
arena
the small houses now.
Yeah.
All the stadiums. The stadium tour.
Yeah.
So. Okay. I'll go with my. You know what? I'm gonna see your Joan Jett.
Okay.
And I'm gonna come back at you with my first pick on my Mount Rushmore. Joan Jett. How about that?
Ding.
Now Joan Jett. We already went over. Also, Joan Jett, one of the members of the Runaways.
Oh yeah.
With who's the other famous person that came out of the Runaways? You know.
I was going to ask you.
It's a softball. Lita Ford, of course. Lita Ford.
Yeah, that might have also been my first rock star girl crush too.
Yeah.
I think my brother had the poster of her with the Warlock guitar.
Nice.
But speaking of Warlock, that brings me to my number 2.
I was gonna put her on my list too. I was.
Dora Pesch.
Doro Pesch. That was one of my crushes for sure.
She,
dude.
Yeah.
So awesome. What a voice.
Just blew my mind.
What a voice.
I mean, as I got older, then I was like, she really blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
As a singer, no, she was like heavy metal excellence.
Yeah, she's amazing. Nick, do you know who Doro Pesch is?
I do not.
She's the singer for the band Warlock, and they are from Germany.
I actually played on the same stage with her in Germany as part of the Magic Circle Festival in 2007.
That's awesome. We're going to go into that sometime in the future. This boy right here has seen some stuff.
A couple things.
Stuff. This guy's seen some stuff and some stuff.
And some things.
All right, my number 2, I'm going to go with, and I got a little help on this one from my lovely lady, Melissa. I said, babe, I'm having a conflict here. I'm doing a Mount Rushmore, women rockers. And before he could even say anything else, she said, Pat Benatar. And I'm like, I didn't even think of Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
Oh, or as she's known these days, Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. There's just like one name now.
Yeah.
You can't see one without the other. She's not allowed to go anywhere. She's under complete surveillance.
No, that's a good call, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Talk about hits. Talk about hit songs. Talk about a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about... And honestly, she didn't have that classic 80s like rock like Doro, like Lita,
Yeah.
like the whoa, you know what I mean? But there was still something sexy about her. Not that that's what this is about, but she had that aura where she attracted the guys, she attracted the girls, and talk about hit song after hit song. Pat Benatar definitely deserves to be on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Actually, I auditioned for a Pat Benatar tribute band.
Really?
Yeah, years ago, and it was just out of my way. I was like out in Syracuse. And I wasn't a Syracuse guy. I was an Oswego County guy.
Is your name Neil? No. All right, you're dismissed.
Yeah. Goodbye.
They waited for. What else you got? Who you got?
Well, this one is very obscure, but it's Maria Siom. She is the lead singer of a band called Drain STH. They were a big influence of mine back when everything was pretty much turning over to alternative rock on the radio waves, and this band came out of nowhere.
Early 90s?
Mid 90s.
Mid 90s.
Yeah, like 96
I see
maybe.
what you're saying. From the grunge to the alternative?
Yeah.
I
It kind of moved. Things were moving on.
Yep.
But they were heavy metal, 4 Swedish girls, and they blew my mind. And I had a chance to see them open up for Typo Negative at the Lost Horizon. The lead singer later went on to marry Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. But she is the lead singer of that band, and her vocal range is incredible. They've often been compared to Alice in Chains. So if you get a chance to check out Drain STH, they only got a couple albums out there, but dig deep, you'll find them.
Nice. Very good. My third pick for my Mount Rushmore, someone who I've never seen her not just go full out balls rocking whatever she does. That's whether I've seen her live, which was probably a handful of times, seen her even like in interviews, and recently on social media, seen her going out to karaoke bars and killing some songs. And that is the singer of Hailstorm, Lizzie Hale.
Yeah, I almost didn't put her on mine because I'm like, it's so obvious, but
she's so
what a voice.
So good. Oh, and what about? Did you see when she? You're
gonna talk about
jumped in with Skid
Row?
Row?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Did Slave to the Grind?
Crap.
Killed it.
Do you know who Lizzie Hale is, Nick?
Of course I do.
Of course you do. Listen to some of the stuff, the Skid Row stuff. She played with Skid Row on some shows. She filled in.
Yeah.
When they were between their, I think it was their 18th and 19th singer. She filled in. She was 18 and a half. 18 and
18 and life.
if she would have lasted.
Maybe
18 in life.
their last singer was pretty good too, but I don't want to get off track.
Right. No. That's for another time.
Yes.
Because we've talked about that too. What you got? What rounds out your Mount Rushmore, fella?
My last one is legendary. Ann Wilson.
I thought about putting her on too. How
can you forget about Heart, right? Like they're
You definitely can't forget about Ann Wilson. Iconic voice. She's you hear her voice and you know it. You know it. You immediately know it's
one
her.
of my biggest influences as a singer.
Yeah.
Like just bridged so many gaps for me. In fact, I went out and saw you and Dion a couple summers ago out at Tiki Bar, and I went up and sang Alone from Heart.
Yep.
Like that was the first I can't say it was the first song I heard, but the first song I like truly fell in love with was probably Alone. And then I went onto their back catalog and was like, Jesus, what did I miss?
So fun fact. I don't know why this just popped into my head because I should know it because we're doing like a rock show.
Mm-hmm.
My very first rock concert I ever went to, I went with Bob Staffa and his dad. Cheap Trick opened, and Heart. Cheap Trick and Heart. They played at the War Memorial, Syracuse. And they opened up with, it's off the, it wasn't Who You Run To. It was, If Looks Could Kill.
Nice.
Yeah. And they had this big stage where, like, I think Ann was, like, up on this balcony on the stage, in the set. and she was singing from up there. Yeah,
I wanted my brother and my mom, I
Killer
believe, went
show.
to that show.
Yeah,
They
that
did.
was my very
They
first
did go to see Hart, and they said that when they played Alone, that Nancy jumped up and kicked the piano stool out, like did a split and came up with a guitar.
That was
and,
awesome.
Like in the music video, I'm like, what?
That's
Like,
great.
I wish I'd seen that. I was a kid at the time, but
That's awesome. But just because it popped into my head, that was September 13th, maybe 87. I think it was 87.
would have been about right.
4 days later, same arena, Rough Cut opened up for Ronnie James Dio.
Wow,
That was my second concert. 4
Wow.
days apart.
That's
also
crazy.
with Bob and his dad.
that's a great week.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, big time. I'm going to round out my list, and I'm going to tie it into Slams and Jams.
Oh, here we go.
Because my fourth member of the Women Rockers Mount Rushmore is the amazing, the one, the only, Nita Strauss.
Ah, yeah.
Nita. So not only is she a kick-ass guitar player for Alice Cooper's band, she actually went on tour last year with Demi Lovato for a short time, but she also plays, not at every single one because sometimes scheduling, but most LA Rams home games.
Really?
She goes out and plays the Star Spangled Banner.
That's pretty great.
Yep, she's under contract to do that with them. And
That's killer.
Fun fact, that I did a little research. 2022, when the Rams won the Super Bowl, they gave her a Super Bowl ring.
Jeez.
They gave her a ring. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Who can say that?
Yep. So that's pretty
Star
badass.
power right there.
Now how she ties into Slams, that's the Jams. Now how she ties into the Slams, she's been on many wrestling, episodes and appearances and whatnot. But Nita Strauss, do you remember when she played Shinsuke Nakamura to the ring, played his theme?
Yeah.
Was that a Mania or was that a big show?
I think that was WrestleMania, right?
Might have been. It might have been.
AJ.
I think we actually flashed a photo of it in our first episode.
Yeah.
I'd have to look back in the
We'll
catalog.
put, we'll put one up on here too.
for sure.
But yeah, that's my Mount Rushmore. That's pretty kick-ass Mount
Yeah,
Rushmore.
yeah.
I knew we would have at least one.
Yeah,
That was the
we
same.
had to. We had to.
And Joan, and what a person to have it. She's like, out of all the people that we talked about, sans maybe Anne, because she's also an icon. Joan Jett is like probably the most iconic
Yeah.
out of both of our lists altogether.
Yeah, I believe.
And
I
she's
believe so.
still rocking.
Yeah. Still
Still
going.
rocking. Still going. So, a little Mount Rushmore of the women's rockers. Now let's talk about the Slams, the Rasslin,
Rasslin.
the ladies.
Let's get down to the wrestling.
What about the old time? What about, and talk about how women's wrestling has evolved.
Poof.
Back in the day, it was, I'm just going to pull some names out of my ass, like Killer Kowalski against Buddy Rogers, and Pat O'Connor against Gene Knitsky, but very bottom of the card. Also, the girls and midgets will be on. It's like,
Yeah.
The girls didn't even get a shot. They didn't
Yeah.
even get like
It was very
acknowledged.
very
it was like,
carny-esque.
yeah, and they were like special attractions, like the three-headed man and the two-eyed donkey or whatever. Well, hold on, three-eyed donkey. Whatever. I made an ass of myself. But yeah, look how far women's wrestling has evolved. Just this year, Queen of the Ring, a
Yeah.
major motion picture came out.
Yeah.
Focused on Mildred Burke, another pioneer in women's wrestling. But let's talk about our personal Mount Rushmores. And let's not do down the line. Okay, again. What the hell?
Sorry.
Let's not do wrestlers, though. We talked about doing wrestlers. But instead, we're going to do some best of shows down the line. We had it all. Don't worry, we got shows planned out for like the next one. We're gonna do the Mount Rushmore of women managers or valets. So it took a little thinking on this one.
It's a tough one because a lot of them became wrestlers
Right.
or once were wrestlers.
Right.
So it's kind of.
But I was thinking along the lines
some
of.
gray.
Some gray. You can see it.
A little bit,
You can
yeah.
see this. Check it. You can see the gray. You're talking about the area that we were talking about, the gray area.
Yeah.
I got no gray. What's he talking about? So I focused on some of the people on my list were wrestlers who turned into that, but I focused on the act of managing, the act of being the valet. So I'm gonna go first on this one. My first one is, I guess I pick her because she was different than all the other ones. She was different than all the other typical wrestling managers and valets, where she didn't interfere. She didn't talk shit. She was just there. And the fact that she was just there and who she was with made her stand out. And I'm talking about
where you're going with
the
this.
love. I'm awful at impressions, but let me try. Elizabeth!
That's pretty good.
This is good. Thank you. You know what? I should cosplay him sometime.
You should. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. The lovely Miss Elizabeth. When she first came in to WWF, you remember the angle where Macho Man had
everybody vying for.
Yeah, he had everybody was a
manager.
free agent, and everybody was coming out there and trying. Was it Albano and Heenan and
Freddie Blassie? I think.
Yeah, they were all out there vying.
Jimmy
for
Hart.
And he announced her out, and out she walked. And and Vince McMahon and Bruno Sammartino, my God, I hope they brought an extra pair of pants with them. My God, oh, look at her. She's beautiful. And she was beautiful.
Yeah.
But Vince, calm down.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like so anticlimactic for the crowd, though. Like they were like,
Everybody's
but
like,
who's that? Oh, okay.
But
then she went on to be like the most watched.
Right.
Like,
Yep. Remember the poster, and it wasn't even like a sexy like Farrah Fawcett. Boy, I'm dating myself. Like a sexy like Farrah, the most iconic poster of all time. The Farrah Fawcett with the I think was she with red.
I was talking about the Elizabeth
Oh
one.
yeah. But she was in the white. She was in the white dress.
Yeah.
Like went on to be like just it's crazy. Miss Elizabeth is my number one on my Mount Rushmore,
You're
just because
number
she was
one.
so different than all the others. And anybody ever talks about Macho Man Randy Savage, they're immediately going to think about Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah. And it's tragic that we lost her so
Yes.
young.
What you got?
What do I got? Mine again. It might be a bit of a stretch because she did go on to wrestle, but how can we forget about China? Like
The ninth wonder of the world, China.
What a presence that she brought to the screen. And also, and of course, we're predating a lot of the women's wrestling that is now, but she brought credibility to the females in the wrestling industry.
Absolutely. Do you remember her debut?
It was with Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
How she debuted.
She came over she grabbed
Marlena,
Goldust's manager. Yeah,
and picked her up and ragdolled the hell out of her.
Yeah, it was
And
disturbing.
everybody's freaking out, like, "Oh my God, who's that?"
Yeah,
And
like
just
how
amazing.
that like hard enough to give someone a concussion.
Yeah,
Like that was.
and Marlena, holy cow, talk about selling that.
Yeah, but like
Jeez.
for maybe 2 years, we didn't hear China say a word, and you didn't have to.
Yep. And even when DX became, they kind of always were, but when they became the comedy troupe doing all that stuff, China was always the straight one. She was always the one like, and then sometimes she would
crack a
she
little
would
bit.
jump in and crack,
You'd
or
see her.
Yeah, but most of the time she was just there as the straight person, keeping the straight face, being the bodyguard, and like talk about innovative, know.
Yeah.
And then who did? Yeah, we'll go into it next segment. Yeah, because I got some more things to say about that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna whip through my next one.
Okay.
China. She's also she's also
There's always one.
She's
right?
also on mine. Yeah, and she well deserved. Yeah, you can't have. I don't think you can have a Mount Rushmore of valets or managers without having China on it. Yeah, she was awesome.
Agreed. What you got?
Well, China.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go again then.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like to go twice in a row.
Now, my next one, we're gonna talk about her accomplishments back then, not about her accomplishments now. But back then, talk about a manager, a presence, eye candy, and became at one point one of the most downloaded women on AOL.
Mae Young. No.
She was in second place.
Oh, okay.
And I'm talking about Sunny, Tammy Sitch. Her work, even her early work in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. It's just amazing. She was great at ringside. She picked up a lot from Cornette. She picked up a lot. She picked up a lot quick.
Yeah, she came out of nowhere with no prior history.
Well, Cornette brought Candido in, and Tammy was just with him.
Yeah.
And she was going to school. And she ended up just coming in, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in later days, she's done some stuff that
made
got
some
herself
real
into trouble.
history.
Yeah. But we're talking about we're talking about on pure the category, the structure of our Mount Rushmore. On my Mount Rushmore, she's got to be on it because her contribution to wrestling back then and how she made more eyes and made more people watch wrestling. She deserves it. That's my next pick.
All right. Mine is, again, this is one of those ones. This one actually started as a wrestler before becoming a manager.
I think we got another match on.
Do we?
I think we do because this is my last one.
That would be Sensational Sherry.
Yes, absolutely.
She started with the Macho Man Randy Savage. Killed it in that role as the queen.
Now, hold on. I'm going to stop you right there. She didn't start managing with Macho Man Randy Savage. She managed in the AWA.
That is correct.
Doug Summers and Pretty Boy, Doug Summers and Pretty Boy Buddy Rose.
Correct.
Buddy Rose? Yeah, Buddy Rose. Yeah.
Before he's Playboy Buddy Rose, right?
That's what I meant.
Playboy,
yeah. Pretty Boy, Doug Summers.
Blowaway.
Hold on. Pretty Boy, Doug Summers, Playboy, Buddy Rose is what I meant to say.
Okay.
I knew I was saying it. I was like, this doesn't sound right. Who the hell am I talking about? Oh, that's it.
But you are correct. Yeah, that's right.
And by the way, Buddy Rose, just as a side note, he does not weigh 270 pounds. He weighs 217 pounds.
But his blowaway diet sold
the blowaway diet.
Fortune. Made a fortune.
We're going to do an episode. No, we're not. We're going to do a full episode on the blowaway diet.
This whole episode is brought to you by...
We're just going to have to get other people to host it because those guys are doing an episode on the blowaway diet.
Yeah, she went from that there. She went to Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And then from WWE, she went to Harlem Heat and WCW.
Yep.
There's so much talent, under her roster over the years.
What about the iconic moment, since we're talking about our Mount Rushmores, and it kind of ties into mine? WrestleMania, help me out, 7, Macho Man's retirement match.
Yeah. Also
where he lost against Warrior, and Sherry turned on him, and Elizabeth came out of the crowd.
Yes.
To save, and they did the hug, and oh my God. Talk about there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Wasn't a dry eye in the house, Edward. Eduardo.
The hat person was crying. It was awful.
Yeah. So,
still my favorite.
Gonna start crying upward again. Let me wipe my tears away.
I can see the ceiling's getting wet.
It'll dry. Don't worry. What do you got for your last one? Or was that it?
That was my last
That was it.
one.
Oh, that's right, because we China
We
and Sherry
China'd.
Sherry. I'll do my last one.
Okay.
Sherry. Sensational Sherry. And what a pick. Sherry was one. As you can see my list, Sherry was number one.
I can't read that from
If
I did, I would have cheated.
I just saved, you didn't name it all mine. You're like, oh my God, we matched
my
everything.
next one
Now I'll
is-
really give my list. Son of a bitch. Yeah, so I think it's pretty good Mount Rushmores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's always better when we have some of the same ones because that,
Yeah.
those are more legit to me, And when we're on two different sides of the spectrum, I kind of feel like, maybe I got to think more about mine, Or,
Let's talk about, this is what I wanted to touch on later on. Earlier I said I wanted to wait on it. Let's talk about, since we're talking about the ladies of wrestling, let's talk about who we think is influential.
the first person that comes to mind for me is Molly Holly. A lot of
Nice.
A lot of people don't realize this.
A lot of people sleep on the how can I word this? A lot of people sleep on the idea of Molly Holly's. Yeah, go ahead.
Legacy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
One of many things. She was Gail Kim's biggest influence to become a professional wrestler. Beth Phoenix got her start because of Molly Holly. Molly Holly introduced her to trainers such as Danny Davis.
Did you hear
And
Beth Phoenix's
then
story?
paid for her way through wrestling school.
What a story.
Yeah.
She told it at her Hall of Fame speech.
And she also
What a
now
story.
she works for a company in Minnesota that takes in kids for a year for drug and alcohol rehabilitation because she's lost so many colleagues over the years to drug addiction. So now she does that for a living. That's actually where she met her current husband.
What a genuine
Genuine
good
being.
person.
Yeah.
What a
She does the
great
polar
person.
plunge every year for the Special Olympics and to raise money for that. And
every once in a while when they have like the reunion shows, here
She'll
comes
come
Mighty
down.
Molly.
Yeah.
Here she comes. She still shows up. So that's pretty badass. I'm going to touch on a couple people. We touched on it a little bit, but on my list that I made for influential, China.
Yeah.
And this is where I stopped earlier, and I'll pick
did
it up
too,
where I
though.
left off because China. Just off the top of my head, who has she influenced? Like who the influence of her, and right out of their mouths, Camille, Jade Cargill. Who else? Who else? Pop in there, fella. Who is China? Like her presence, her size, her like some wrestlers that she has. Who do you think?
There's a very big one that you're not naming.
Who?
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley. There you go.
Nice.
See,
And
that's
everybody
Why, that's why the boys. But that's why the boys.
Everybody was comparing her to China
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Yep.
Until obviously now she's dug out the legacy of her own.
Right. Right.
stature.
Yeah.
But-
She's on to be
But
probably the greatest women wrestler of all time when it's all said and done.
very possible.
Yeah. But China has she broke down barriers, as they say, to be cliche, broke down barriers, opened doors for all those people. You know, and just over the years, you know.
She wanted to transform her body. And because of that, I think a lot of other wrestlers nowadays have taken that to heart and said, well, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Right.
And
Right.
man, we got some like out there that can really throw some weight around.
Yep. Yep. And
Pretty awesome.
honestly, I don't want to say her downfall, but her fall from wrestling and the stuff that, you know, the rest of her career and careers until she passed away. It's a sad story, definitely. But I've always read from so many people that she was like another one. That she was like one of the nicest people that you'd meet. She was a sweetheart of a person and just trained by Killer Kowalski. I think that's where her and Triple H met, I believe.
I remember him
maybe
saying
not,
like,
maybe not. Maybe it was at different times that they got in. She may have trained after.
yeah, I remember he saw her and said, that's our ringer right there. Like that's our
Where's Devastating Derek when you need him with the Kowalski info?
right.
The hell?
Derek.
But yeah, China for sure. Here's a name, as far as influential. Here's a name that I'll throw out there. I don't know if you've ever heard the name or heard of her. If you've never seen any of her work, please hit the Google machine. Oh no, the YouTube machine. Manami Toyota.
I have not.
Manami Toyota was ahead of her time, big time ahead of her time in Japan. And she would do some crazy high flying stuff that you see on WWE TV now.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the innovative high flying stuff. There's no doubt in my mind that Kairi Sane was influenced by Manami Toyota. By that elbow that she does and the high flying stuff that she does. That's just the first person that comes to mind. But Manami Toyota, she was definitely ahead of her time and was one of the first, if not the first, high flyers. True high. There was the Jumping Bomb Angels and there was the Crush Girls and all that, but like one of the true women high flyers in wrestling, Manami Toyota. One of Bob Staffel's favorite wrestlers of all time as well.
Jumping Bomb Angels were actually on my list.
Are they really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Because who can forget Now, there was this period in women's wrestling where, like you said, it was at the bottom of the card, not even mentioned.
Yep.
And then for a short while there, it seemed to come back. They started having tag team matches, and I'll never forget the Jumping Bomb Angels Survivor Series 87. Like, they just tore it up. It was like watching the women wrestlers today. Like,
awesome.
if you watch that back, it's just, like, I can't recall everyone that was in the ring with them. I think Sherry was definitely one of them. But they all seemed really intimidated and could not keep up with them.
Right.
They were so good.
And to them, it was just another day at the office.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
wow, these girls move slow.
And the place was going nuts. Gorilla Monsoon was losing his mind about him. But here's a name that I think should be brought up, and that's Medusa. Think about everything she's done.
Ding, ding. She's on my list. She's on my list. And I didn't put her on... excuse me. I didn't put her on for even the character Medusa. And this is going to be a weird take because everybody's like, why'd they rename her? I put her on for Alundra Blaze.
That's what I did too.
And because she took women's wrestling and made it credible again.
Yes.
And with Bull Nakano,
Yeah.
when Bull came in and they had that long, and then Bull Nakano, and then Rhonda Singh. What was her name in WWE? I should know this. We're doing the big girl.
Bertha Faye.
Bertha Faye.
Yeah, it took me a second.
Yes. Those two going at it. That was amazing. And Alundra Medusa, she turned things around and she made it real again.
Well, that what I wanted to mention about her too, as far as Alundra Blaze goes, it seemed like they had they caught their big fish with Alundra Blaze. WWE did. And I've heard it said many times that Vince would have rather not even had a women's division. I heard that so many times over the years. And that was, I believe, part of why they only had Alundra Blaze, because they could not find anyone better than her. So who are they? So they kept having to outsource to other companies. Like they could never build, I don't feel like they could have built a women's division, because she was kind of untouchable. Like, well, we got the big fish. Now, how are we gonna feed it? And that's all they did, was just feed her.
Yep.
But it's which is a shame, because nowadays you've got people that could keep up with her, but you didn't have that back then.
Quick funny story, because we talked about them both here. Do you remember? You obviously remember my my Larry and Bruno story that I talked to them.
Yeah.
And they had heat, and I finagled a picture with them. I have to find it. And if I find it, it'll go up right now. If you don't see the picture, then I didn't find it. Wrestling convention in New York City. Me, Derek, Bob, of course. They were both there. Heat between them, big time. I asked them both. I told those guys, I said, I'm going to try to finagle it. This was before the Bruno Larry thing, by the way.
Okay.
I asked if I could get a picture with both of them together. Just for the sole purpose of being able to do it. Mm-hmm. And they both literally said, well, if she'll do it, I'll do it. It's kind of like, hey, Mom, can I go? Well, if your dad says it's okay, ask your dad. Hey, Dad, Mom said it was okay as long as it's okay with you. Yeah, I don't care as long as it's okay with her. Yes. So Mama Medusa and Mama Sherry, I got a picture with both of them together.
That's awesome.
It's a Polaroid. We're going back now. It's a Polaroid. But that was pretty awesome. Another fun fact that just popped into my head, speaking of going to, to the shows with Derek and Bob and Bob's dad, we went to a random WWF house show at MSG. It was a Sunday afternoon. And I can't even remember, I could look it up in our book that we have and find out the card. But one of the matches on the card was the Jumping Bomb Angels against Dump Matsumoto and Bull Nakano.
Wow.
Yeah, they were there, and we're like, we saw them out. We saw before the show. The Jumping Bomb Angels were hanging outside, and there was a huge Japanese contingency out there hanging out with them, and taking pictures. And we're like, we knew who they were, but we're like, why are they here? It's Sunday afternoon. What's going on here?
What year was this?
Mid 80s.
All right.
But like, holy crap!
Yeah, that's
it. Must have been that run where they were in, where they did the Survivor Series. You
Yeah,
said?
87.
Yeah, it might have been probably right over. I don't know. Were they in twice? I don't remember.
I don't know. I
But
don't know
think
how
it might have
long they
been.
were even there.
I gotta look it up. I'll look it up and we'll fact check it for next time.
Yeah, on Alundra Blaze, one more quick fact. My buddy Nolan, that I used to sit with at the two CW shows, he actually did a lot of her merchandise. A lot of Medusa's merchandise. Now she's a monster truck driver.
Right.
And he did a lot of her merchandise and made a T-shirt for her that said "Fuck Eric Bischoff" or something.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, like some. But yeah, like that's. I
have
thought
been
that was cool.
That
Like, he
must have
showed
been a
me the
big
design.
seller.
Yeah, probably. I think it was just for her personal collection. Like, you want to make my T-shirts, kid? Let's see what you got.
Great. Now
Make me this.
I was just kidding. Great. Now we're not getting into the Conrad Thompson podcast family.
Ah, damn it.
Podfather, we're sorry.
We love you, Eric.
We love. Here's another one. Here's a big one.
All right, what we got?
Influential in the world of professional wrestling. Woman.
Woman.
No, not woman.
Oh.
It's a woman.
Oh.
A woman.
Woo!
I got a picture with her too. I have a picture with me in the middle, Nancy on one end, woman on one end. No, fallen angel on one end, Kevin Sullivan on the other.
Oh.
Yes, it's very nice.
That's how they booked it.
Getting
Surprised
back,
Al didn't bring her up during the valet thing. Wasn't on either of their
she wouldn't be on Mount Rushmore, but she was definitely awesome. She's another one that really like tore into it when she was at ringside.
Yeah,
She knew how to work.
She did. Until I just always think of like during her ECW run with Sandman.
Oh, so good.
All she had to do is look at the camera and do this.
Yeah. All she
And
had to
I'm
do
like,
was
okay,
all she had
I'm
to do
up.
was look at the camera. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus. Probably one of the in the grand scheme of things, on the big picture of pro wrestling that turned into sports entertainment, probably one of the biggest women influencers, and she wasn't even a wrestler, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, she's the one that kind of helped bridge the gap between wrestling and entertainment.
She's the inspiration for the show, Slams and Jams, rock and wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
not
a
her
good call.
specifically, but but like she bridged the gap and she brought rock and wrestling together.
Yeah.
To the mainstream. All because Lou Albano was. I mean, that was the niblet. Lou Albano
he was in that
had
video.
had a cameo as her dad, and the girls just want to have fun video.
Yeah.
And the rest was her story.
Nice.
I got you, girls.
Oh, he's got that in his notes. Come on.
No, I didn't even put that down.
just kidding.
Don't look at my notes.
I can't see your notes. I need glasses.
I got three. I have three. No, I have two. Because we're going to do a different segment where we touch on kind of what I'm going to touch on now. But I just have two random people I want to throw in as far as influential. And I say they're influential because they are both showing the world right now that you can just go out there, be yourself, or be stupid, and just leave it all out there in front of the camera or in the ring, and just be free to do whatever. And you're over like Rover, and other people should look at what they're doing and maybe make a plan like what they're doing. And those two people are my girl, Toni Storm, or as you may know her now as Timeless. Toni Storm, and Chelsea Green.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Chelsea.
Chelsea Green.
with that
I mean,
description.
they just go. I mean, Chelsea Green has come out and said she doesn't care if she ever wins a match because she knows the assignment. Mm-hmm. She knows she's an entertainer, and that's what she's there to do. She's there to put people over if they need her to, but she's also, anytime she's ever put somebody over, she's getting over herself.
Yeah.
She can lose 10 times in a row, and the very next time she's on TV, she's walking with her entourage with the glasses and the black coat, and she's over as shit.
She's doing her job.
Yeah.
And she understands
Doing
her
it
job.
very well.
Yeah. And she understands her job, and she's doing
Yep.
it well, like you said.
Yep.
Yeah. It's Some people don't get that.
No.
They just want to clench their spot.
How do you think? Let me ask you this: take the whole timeless Tony Storm persona character, lift it up, drop it in WWE. Do you think it works?
I think it works anywhere.
Do you think it works in WWE?
I think it works better in WWE. I think that just kind of character just works better with the more sports entertainment kind of presentation.
And I think they would totally, their production and just the stuff that they would take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I agree.
No, it's exactly what you said. It's such an entertaining gimmick.
Yep.
It's built for entertainment.
Yeah.
And in her in-ring work, she wrestles like she's from the 1960s or 70s.
Yeah.
Her leg work in the ring and everything, and I'm like,
Yep.
it's so insane how she mimics that and like works on.
The thing is, she
Those
was a
fundamentals.
killer worker. Even when she was in WWE, she was a killer worker with the rocker Tony Storm gimmick in AEW and in Stardom and wherever else she has wrestled. She's just good.
Yeah.
But you're right. She has not only conformed her look, conformed her act, but she dresses and she wrestles and she mimics the Mildred Burks and the June Byers and all the it's amazing.
It is.
She's actually in that Queen of the Ring movie.
Reinvented herself not just as a character but as an actual in-ring performer.
Yep.
Which, I mean, there's only a handful that have ever really done that. You know, you got maybe the Undertaker,
Right.
Brock Lesnar, I guess, but all they did is add like some like UFC punches to their repertoire in the ring. But they still did all the classics. She completely transformed her.
You see her at one of the conventions or something. She's totally in timeless character. Totally, she's totally in. She lives there. Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. So those are just two off the top of my head that are really just 20 years from now. Someone somewhere will be talking about influential women of the past, and they probably would mention the people that we mentioned, but they're also, those two are definitely in the conversation.
Yeah.
For sure. Chelsea just signed another deal, I guess. I heard that.
Good.
I don't know. That's what I saw on the internet, but that's awesome.
Everything's true that's on the internet, Billy.
Yeah.
Everything.
3 nipples. Did you see it on the internet?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all over
So
the
it's
internet.
true. So it's true.
We've all seen her
Everyone
3
will, once
nipples.
the episode goes up, that'll be on the internet now. Now it's true.
That's good. I mean, I think we touched on a lot here. I think it's way too early to say this as far as influential, but I'm going to run it back for a minute.
Okay.
I just thought of another person who's not only, I don't say influential, but definitely a star of the future and someone who definitely will fit in that mold of being inspired by a China, Megan Bain.
Really?
Have you seen Megan Bain?
I have not.
Dude, she's awesome. She's huge. She's beautiful. She can work. Nick and I saw her up close front row seats at GCW in Rochester. Mm-hmm. Dude, she's a beast.
Really?
She's on AEW now. Yeah.
All
She's doing a program with Tony Storm.
Oh, you know what? I have seen her.
She's got the big hat, the big headdress that she wears.
Actually, when she came to the ring, I watched it with Carrie. I was like, that dress, like, that was impressive.
Yeah, she's
Valkyrie
a beast.
looking.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
she's
gimmick
awesome.
going. That was pretty cool.
Another one, you said Valkyrie. Taya Valkyrie. That's
Yeah.
another one that kind of is a bigger girl that'll, probably that influence. There's probably way more that we can.
There are. I mean, the one that's palling around now with El Grande Americano, Chad Gable, the girl on his team.
Hold on, you're jumping around.
Yeah.
You're talking about two totally different people.
Yeah, sorry.
Make up your mind. Who are we talking about?
They just have similar styles. I know one's lucha libre, one's not, but yes, yeah, she's incredible. I think I'd like to see more out of her.
Who? Ivy? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. Ivy Nile.
Ivy Nile, yeah, she's good. I don't even know why. I mean, I'm stuck on this China inspiration thing. Look at some of the girls in NXT.
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace,
God,
even though
how did we leave her
she's
out?
a little smaller, but Jordan Grace.
She's another one.
Jacked, she's built.
I watched her, her little, I hate to call them documentaries because they're only 5 minutes long. But hearing her story,
Vignettes.
yeah. Hearing her story, though, was so much similar to Chyna's story. And not she was influenced by Chyna to do what she did, whether she was or not, I don't know. She didn't say that. But just the words out of her mouth and how she got into it and how she got, that she did a tryout for WWE years ago, and the producer looked at her and said, "We're just going to have you stand over here," and pushed her completely off camera for the vignette.
Yeah.
So she wasn't even a part of the skit or anything. And she said that day forward, she was like, "If you don't like what you see, I'm going to get jacked, and I'm going to make you like what you see, and I'm going to be, if I can't, change my face, and I'll change my body." And
she was good when she was a bigger girl, bigger, not as muscular, is bigger size wise. She was good then, and I think she really started to, even before she got jacked, I think she started feeling more comfortable in her own skin.
yeah, that's
Yep.
what
And she turned it around, and that might have been a moment like that.
It came from a place of insecurity, and it came from a bad place, so to speak, but where it led her, just to be comfortable in her own skin and to have that confidence in herself that she displays nowadays.
Another one that's totally star of the future.
Yeah.
She'll be NXT champion on the what's the it's the weekend of
I don't remember.
what's the next pay-per-view? Money in the Bank. It's earlier in the day of Money in the Bank, isn't it?
Battleground, maybe?
No, it's Battleground, but it's not the earlier in the day of Money in the Bank. That's when the worlds collide. But yeah, the next pay-per-view for NXT, PLE, is coming up in a couple weeks. She won the number one contender spot over Stephanie, to face Stephanie for the NXT title, and I totally think she's winning it. She's totally winning that, and Stephanie's going up.
It'll be a great match.
You really think they're going to hot shot? They already hot shotted Julia. You think they're going to hot shot
I think
Stephanie
Stephanie's
already
going
like
up.
that?
She's already up there half the time. She's on every show. You know what I mean? Talk about a star of the future.
Yeah, and she's been putting on, in my opinion, 4 to 5 star matches.
Banger matches, yeah.
They're just killer.
What about a couple weeks ago, that random match? All right, it's Stephanie Vaquer, the NXT champion's here, and she'll be facing Io Sky.
Yeah, wait, what?
What? You're just going to throw that at us at a Monday Night Raw? Okay. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah, and talk about a star of the future. Right there.
Yeah.
Quick take. Bigger star, I'm not talking about hot or anything, but bigger star, who has more potential, Julia or Stephanie?
Between just the two of them, Stephanie.
Definitely.
I'm saying Stephanie.
I agree.
Yeah.
Something about her look is just...
It's mesmerizing. It's to
her
sound corny,
face
but it's mesmerizing.
with the horns, with the makeup,
Yep.
just something about it.
Her looks, I hate to use this word because I'm standing next to this guy, but her facials are...
And she's smart because she can work. You're right. The look with the horns, with the makeup. Mm-hmm. But she's well-rounded. Mm-hmm. She wears the costume that she wears because she knows it's sexy. So she brings in the guys. She is young and athletic. She brings the eyes of the girls. What's the saying? Can't believe we haven't mentioned her yet in this segment. Sable used to say. Here's one we won't talk about. Here's a saying.
Sorry,
She
Brock.
said, for all the guys that want to see me and for all the girls that want to be me.
Yeah.
That's Stephanie Vaquer right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, she's just the total package. Yeah, she's huge things because she'll be a women's champion on one of the main shows by the end of the year. That's my take right there.
That's a hot take right
Yeah, it is.
By the end of the year, and we're almost halfway through.
I'll go Mania. She'll be competing for it at Mania. I hope if they do bring her up to the card, up to the higher,
What are some?
I would hope that they...
Remember when she was facing Mercedes Moné last year?
Yeah, in AEW.
In AEW.
Yeah.
And then Tony Khan didn't sign her. She said, "All right,
All right, bye.
bye."
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how we didn't mention her in our Mercedes. Nah. All right. That one was for the ladies. We love all wrestling. We love all rock and roll. The women of rock, the women of wrestling. Next week, I'm going to throw it at you. Never mind. I was going to say something.
I always wonder what's going on in the head. This
Don't
guy's
do it. You
head,
can
man.
edit it out. What is it?
Yeah. We're not gonna. Though.
No, we're not going to. I know the asshole that does the editing. He is not going to. He's going to exploit it. So going to see next week, we focus. What made you get into wrestling? Yeah, you got some editing to do.
Yeah, we can't. Jeez.
All right,
Gotta
so
get my
that
shins-
is the show on women rock, because the women rockers and the women wrestlers, they all rock, and we all
And
love
wrestle.
watching them and wrestle. They all walk and wrestle. They rock and wrestle.
Easy for you to say.
What are we doing next week? Well, let's have it be a surprise.
All right.
Only because we haven't thought about what we're
Yeah,
doing
we
next
have
week
no
yet.
plan for next week.
No
so
idea, but it's going to be good.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, one thing I want to mention, we're going to start doing some more off the cuff, on the spot stuff on the Facebook page. Slams and Jams, A-N-D, because the fuckers wouldn't let us do an ampersand. We're going to do a Thirsty Thursday, do a little drink testy Westies. Oh, drink tests. I didn't mean to say testy Westies. Or testy Easties. And then Fridays, we're going to do Figure Friday. I'm going to show off my action figures. Well, there's your segment for the next 25 years. There's yours. All right, that covers the next couple years.
All right.
No, we're going to focus on a wrestling figure on Figure Friday. Or maybe it doesn't have to be a wrestling figure.
Could be
'Cause
a
we're Slams and Jams. It could
rock
be
figure.
A rock figure.
It's a good call.
I have a rock figure. He's going, oh, you mean, my bad.
Finish the segment.
All right. Anyways, Slams and Jams. Check out the Facebook page. Slams, A-N-D, Jams. This one's for Sabu, the wild man. Rest in peace, brother. And check out the Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. We'll be popping up a show every Super Slams and Jams Saturday. We'll be popping it up. So check it out. If you want to be involved with us, let us know. We'll have you on the show. We don't care. We'll come to you. We got mics. We could be mobile. We're mobile.
Mobile.
I'm not really mobile these days, but we could be mobile.
Nobody will be coming to your house. Let me put that disclaimer out there. I don't get that.
God no.
No.
God no. We want no part of that.
Don't invite us.
It's a lavish palace. My brother. Until next week.
Until next week.
Wait, our handshake.
Oh yeah.
Let's do a different. Let's do the other one.
The other one? Oh, it's left-handed.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like the.
We're done. Get out. Please. Get out.